And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk. Glad you're with us. We've got a special night ahead as we're going to talk all sorts of spring sports. Be a lot of fun getting to know more about what's happening with men's and women's lacrosse, baseball, softball amongst our guests. Also tennis and track and field in full bloom as well. We'll get you all that news and stats and information shortly here as far as what's been going on with the Tornadoes. But first, like we always do, want to thank our sponsors of Tornado Talk. Appreciate their ongoing support of Brevard College Tornado Athletics, Arby's, BSN Sports, eGolf 4 to Brevard, Hampton Inn, Ingalls, Jets Pizza, Party Sports Medicine, Pepsi, Sully Steamers, Triangle Stop, and Young Transportation. And a special shout out to Party Sports Medicine, UNC Healthcare, Party Sports Medicine, Southeastern Sports Medicine Orthopedics, the official healthcare provider of the BC Tornadoes. In addition to the outstanding quality of care provided by the orthopedic doctors, Party also offers care in the areas of oncology, cardiovascular, primary care, and several subspecialties. Party Sports Medicine, proud partners with Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Well, a lot to catch you up on. First, let's start with baseball. We'll have some guests later in the show from the baseball program. A big-time series over the weekend as the two top teams in the USA South squared off, and BC and NC Wesleyan end up going all the way to the late inning drama in Game 3 as far as how this series wound out. NC Wesleyan won Game 3 of the series, the rubber match. A wild game also on Game 2. A 12-11 win for the Tornadoes. Next up for the Tornadoes baseball team at Methodist, a 3-game series this weekend, Friday and Saturday. Next home game for the Tornadoes, if you want to mark your calendar, that's a week from tomorrow, April the 11th, 4 p.m. at Gilcone Field, non-conference versus Bob Jones. Softball had a long stretch of games. We'll talk to the softball coaches a bit about that later in the show. We're able to get a 6-2 win over Southern Virginia to split a series in Buena Vista, Virginia on Saturday. And then on Sunday, on Senior Day, a big 8-0 win over Sweetbriar. That was in 5 innings. And then the Senior Day celebration in the mid part of the doubleheader. Lindsey, Tolle, Beth Hyatt, Michaela Morgan, Serena Rogers-Lucky, KateLynn Olive. Congratulations to that outstanding senior class. It was great to be able to honor them yesterday at the BC softball field. Next up for the Tornadoes, currently scheduled for a Saturday 1 and 3 p.m. doubleheader versus Methodist. That's back to USA South Conference play there. We're keeping a close eye on the weather. There's rain expected in the forecast throughout the weekend, so stay tuned to bctornadoes.com for any updates there. Tennis, a big 8-1 win over Meredith in some extremely windy conditions at the McCoy Tennis Complex over the weekend. Women's tennis has been red hot, winners of 7 of their last 8 matches. Next up, men's and women's tennis will play at Pfeiffer. That's tomorrow. And then the next home match for the men's and women's tennis team versus Greensboro on Wednesday, April the 12th, 3 p.m. That's Senior Day as well. Track and field heads to Newberry, South Carolina for the Hub City Invitational this weekend. And men's lacrosse, a road game at Piedmont on Wednesday before coming home versus Greensboro on Saturday at 1 p.m. at Ise Lamel Family Field. We'll talk men's lacrosse later in the program as well. Women's lacrosse, talking about a team that's been red hot, a 23-17 win over Pfeiffer, followed by a 20-2 win at Ise Lamel Family Field over NC Wesleyan. Parker Moore named USA South Offensive Player of the Week for the second time this season. That's some breaking news from earlier today. And the women's lacrosse team on a 4-game win streak and with an 8-2 overall record. That's the best start in program history. And with that, we're going to invite in our first guest of the program, and excited to catch up with the women's lacrosse coaching staff. We have head coach Kristin Rosato. Coach Rosato, thanks for joining the show.
Hey, Phil.
And also assistant coach Roya Tahmassebi is here once again. Coach Tahmassebi, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having us, Phil.
All right, Coach Rosato, 4-game win streak, 8-2 start, best start in program history. I mean, winning, it's just such a, solution to so much as far as, just the vibe and the feel good of the program. But would love to hear from your perspective, what the Tornadoes are doing right and, what has really, been the cause of this win streak.
I think the biggest thing that we've done a lot of things off the field to kind of prepare them mentally to go into games and be able to fight for all these wins we've had. And so I think it starts there. We've worked a lot in terms of like mental health and putting things in place to help them and make sure they feel supported in that. And then also we've really preached this like team, and we say it like all the time, attitudes, effort, and just being a team. And so it has nothing to do with X's and O's. It's really, we've been working on being a family and supporting each other from the coaching staff down. It's not just we're asking them to do that. We're asking ourselves to also hold ourselves accountable. And so I think that is a huge part of it. And they've seen some teams like fall apart on the field. And so we've been able to use some different examples. And I think overall they've really embraced what we kind of preached to them this year and really bought into that team feel. And on the field, I think they're doing everything right now. They're listening to what we're asking them to do. They're executing. We've been really pushing them to provide us a lot of feedback. It's not just us. So we want them to feel empowered to give us some feedback. And I think all of that together has really just put us in a great position. And I think we'll keep winning games because they're at this point, they're bought in, they know what to expect. And so we're really happy where we're at right now.
Outstanding. Coach Tahmassebi, the one thing I heard there in Coach Rosato's answer was character, and how this team is really from an attitude standpoint doing what they need to do both on and off the field. I'd love for you to comment further, just how important that is as far as, having the right attitude as you go into the game of women's lacrosse.
Yeah. Your mental state absolutely depicts the way that you're going to play. And as coaches, we see that firsthand. We see it at practices, we see it at games. And if we can put kind of an emphasis and some sense of responsibility onto the players to say, okay, get yourself into the right headspace, we'll help, we'll be that support. But that effort has to come from you. And the players are taking that on and they're coming out here and they're hyping themselves up and, getting each other ready to go out there for these games. And it's fun to see how the effort they're putting in is translating to them being incredible on the field.
Specifically, these last couple games since we had our last edition of Tornado Talk, Coach Rosato, a 23-17 win over Pfeiffer. That's a lot of goals collectively scored between those two teams, so a bit of a shootout there. But would love for you to reflect back on that game, how that all went down.
Yeah, so going into it, we really talked about it was going to be a physical game. It was a game that is a game of runs, so we've always been a back and forth battle, and then they've been able to kind of pull away at the end. So we really prepped them on that, and giving them what the tools they need so they could go into the game and expect how it's going to kind of like play out. And it was exactly that. It was a game of runs in the beginning. Going into halftime, we were down by a couple goals. And I asked them to point out, like, what are we doing? Like, are we going to go out and win this game, or are we going to give up and let them have it? And right back at me, we're going to win this game. And so that was the mentality. And so I think in the second half, we did a much better job defensively. Pfeiffer has one player, number 7, Annalise Robinson. She's incredibly fast, good athlete, good lacrosse player. And she went at us in the first half, and we had a difficult time making adjustments to her. And then also I think Coach Roya made a great decision on the draw. Parker has been our go-to all year. And so to go away from her, that's a tough decision. But we went with Zan Hill in the second half, who's a freshman, made big difference, huge difference. We were actually competing on the draw. So, some changes defensively, some changes on the draw definitely put us in a position. And then offense has been doing what they've been doing all year, scoring goals.
Coach Tahmassebi, the Tornadoes are 4-1 this season in road games, and this was another road win. Love for your comments as far as, the team getting prepared for road trips and then getting it done on the opponent's turf.
Yeah. I will say, added into that is the midweek game. And that is something that we've kind of struggled with this season, is coming out, it's different when you're on the weekend. You're like, okay, I wake up and it's game day and I'm only thinking about game day. But midweek games, we're asking them to wake up, go to class, get their things ready, travel all the way there. And it's those little things that are kind of added onto it. And this was kind of a redemption. This is something I said to them in the locker room before the game too, is I was like, this is redemption against us. Like, we need to prove to ourselves that we can get into that game day mindset regardless of what else we're doing that day. And the players were like, okay, yeah, definitely, and took it on and really proved ourselves and our past wrong.
Yeah, fantastic. And then this weekend, a big 20-2 win over NC Wesleyan. Great to have that kind of success on the home field. Coach, for those who might not have been able to catch that one, Coach Rosato, catch us up on that victory. A big scoring margin there, 18-goal differential.
Yeah, so same kind of prep as Pfeiffer. It was a double overtime game last year, so we were not going to go in there and just expect to get a win. I do think NC Wesleyan is down a little bit this year, but that being said, our girls played incredible. They came out a little bit slow the first quarter, and then after that, we kind of gave them a little wake up call in the huddle, and after that, they kind of woke up a little bit and started to play. Cut down on the turnovers, got into our rod, got turnovers from them. So, team effort against NC Wesleyan. I love that we're seeing some players kind of come out of their shell. Zan is a really big one right now. Parker's been dominating all year. And I think we'll continue to see a couple other players come out. Nicole will be back here soon from injury. So we'll be, excited to get her back into the mix. Paige obviously has done great all year. So overall, 2 massive conference victories puts us in a place where we want to be. And so we got to keep pushing.
Coach Tahmassebi, next up is a non-conference game at Warren Wilson. And Friday, as the schedule currently states, I mean, we're expecting a lot of weather in the area. Lacrosse is a pretty, weatherproof sport, but 4:00, the Ridge rivalry becoming renewed. And this is a cool deal, both men's and women's lacrosse, that this Ridge rivalry that's come up between these 2 local schools. There's a trophy that gets handed back and forth. Coach Tahmassebi, are the student athletes excited about another edition of the Ridge rivalry?
Yeah, I mean, another opportunity to keep that trophy for another year. I mean, that iron stick has made its home here, and we have no plans of giving that back. This is kind of one of the fun games. Warren Wilson, they're a fun team to play, good sportsmanship on both ends. And so it's really an opportunity to come out, love the game of lacrosse, have a good fight with them. I mean, they're doing really well this year as compared to the past years. And so we're excited to come out and kind of test ourselves against them. And, it's always fun when you have a trophy on the line.
Yeah, and then Coach Rosato, 1 week from tonight, Monday the 10th, this was a game rescheduled due to some, really serious circumstances over at Greensboro College, but it's great to see that this game's going to go off 6 p.m. a week from tonight at Lamel Family Field. The Tornadoes hosting Greensboro, right back to conference play, and every game matters for those conference standings, correct?
Yeah, we're shooting for that 4th or 5th spot right now, and right now we're taking care of business. And I think what's been cool about this year is like expectations are going up, and it's not coming from the coaches. We don't talk about our record. We talk about getting into the conference. We're in at this point, but we don't even talk about that. We haven't met our goals, and so every time, like after NC Wesleyan, yeah, we were excited. But we just talk about, hey, we got to get ready for the next one, on to the next one. We still have business to take care of. And so I think this team is going to continue to be successful because it's not inspired by the coaches. This is, coming from the players. We reinforce it, of course, but, you could be really successful when you have the leadership and you have the team that is just balled in, feel like they can do anything at this point. So I think going into Greensboro, William Peace, next week, I think we're in really great position right now.
Outstanding. Well, congrats on the success thus far. Can't wait to see what's around the corner here as we come down the home stretch here in April for USA South Conference play. Coaches, are you able to stick around a couple moments longer as we invite in a couple of your student athletes as we'll effort into the program here? Emily Denaga has joined the show, also Cassidy Hutto. It's great to see these 2 with us. Coach Roya, get us started introducing these two to NATO Nation.
These two, it's fun that they're on the show at the same time, Phil, because I don't think I've ever seen one without the other. They are attached at the hip constantly, and it's fun. I mean, they're a fun group. I mean, we work Tornado Talk together, so that's always a good time. Every time I see Cass out or even at practice, we always joke about how we're both in the same place at the same time. But I mean, she's great. She's one of the defenders that has come out of her shell this year, and she's growing herself. She's growing her IQ. It's fun to watch. And Emily has always been a huge rock star on the field. She's always done amazing things off the field. And so to be able to kind of watch her continue that and keep kind of growing is awesome. I mean, she's a captain as a sophomore, which is huge. Kind of putting her in that leadership role. She's taken it and she's challenged herself, and it's awesome the things that she's been able to do this year.
Outstanding. Coach Rosato, take it from there.
Yeah, I'm just proud of these two. As great as they are on the field, they are massive off the field. They're involved in everything. Almost too many things. I had to talk about, hey, it's not a bad thing to set boundaries with some people and let them know that maybe you're not going to be at everything. Cass is involved in SAC this year, hoping that she'll go for a higher role next year, but pushing her on that. But, you know, Emily, as a sophomore, she's 91 points right now currently. You know, and we just had 2 seniors get that. So kind of put that in perspective for some people. She's also close to 200 draw controls. So, I mean, just dominating on the field. And then Cass, I get on Cass all the time, so I have to show her some love. I ride Cass like crazy, but she responds the right way, and she's getting better every game.
Outstanding. Well, can't wait to get to know these two even further and introduce them further to NATO Nation. Coach Rosato, Coach Tahmassebi, thanks for joining the program. We'll see you at the Islamel Family Field sometime soon.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, there they go. And as the coaches helped introduce these two, Emily Denaga, the sophomore midfielder from Buford, Georgia. Emily, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me, Phil.
And also with us, Cassidy Hutto, the sophomore defender from Lexington, South Carolina. Cassidy, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Phil.
Well, it's great to have you two. And I do want to, let everyone know that Cassidy and Emily are our production assistants here for Tornado Talk. And you can already see that, the fan reaction starting to come in here as these two help behind the scenes quite a bit to make our show possible every week. So I do want to publicly thank you for that. But let's get going here at the task at hand, which is the season so far. You guys have been having an outstanding season, Emily, and, really, on a great streak as far as 4 games in a row. But I know you guys are hungry to keep it going. But Emily, as far as, the key to success so far, why do you think, you guys have been able to, pull off so many wins and have this great start to the season?
I think we really enforced the word team this year, and we really have each other's backs on the field, off the field. We keep in touch all the time, and coming to practice is always fun. So I feel like keeping positive energy really helps us throughout the season.
Yeah, and Cassie, what are some of the things you're seeing as far as, the days that you guys are clicking in that, whether it's a practice when you feel like, you guys are on your game, but of course, on game day when you guys end up getting the win, what's the key to those days?
Honestly, I just think it's the team helping build each other up. So if we're having a bad day, we help the other one out. If we're having a good day, we try to spread that with everyone. It's just one of those things where it's communication. That's really all it is. We communicate with each other, and so we let each other know if we're doing good, if we're doing bad, and then we build off of that.
Let's stick with you, Cassidy, as those graphics are popping there about you. You're part of this defense that held, your last opponent to just 2 goals. That's a very low total for a women's lacrosse game. Would love for you to comment on the defense, what you all's mentality is, when you're trying to shut down an opponent. Tell us about the defense and how you guys get it done.
Again, for us, I think defense biggest strength and sometimes our biggest weakness is our communication. So when we're communicating really well, we understand each other, we know what we're doing, and we can trade off with our cutters really easily. We can slide really easily, and we can cover each other. So that's really what we did with NC Wesleyan. Like the first quarter, it was okay, but then as we started getting the ball more on our side, we just had to keep talking, and then we're we're able to stop them.
Emily Denaga with us as well. You know, she's on that offensive end and putting together some big totals again as the comments continue to roll in, including one from athletic director Miranda Nash. Emily, 24 goals, 13 assists, 92 draw controls this season. Let's start with the goals and the assist part. You know, it's not just you, but your teammates as well. But you guys are able to find the back of the net quite a bit this season. Tell us your mentality, you know, from the offensive end and how you guys are getting it done there.
I really think we're doing well working as a team. We find a lot of the holes in the opponent's defense. And honestly, I don't even look at the numbers. You know, I'm just worried about getting the score up and getting a win as a team.
I do want to talk about draw controls, though, because we've talked about it before on this program. And Emily, you're such a big part of that. Tell us about draw control and, you know, that whole approach.
I honestly wouldn't be able to do it without, you know, my draw dogs, Parker and now Paige. But I watch that ball as soon as the ref puts the ball in between the sticks, and I react to the whistle as fast as possible.
Yeah, and Cassie, I see you nodding your head. Tell me a little bit about this draw dog culture that you have witnessed.
Oh, I enjoy seeing it because our midfield is such a big part of our game. So I really love seeing them work together. And if they call themselves the draw dogs, it's working. So I'm totally here for it.
Awesome. Great stuff. Also, Cass Hutto with us. You know, Coach mentioned it. You're an important part of our student athlete advisory committee here, SAC, and you know, you head up the community engagement side of things for SAC, which is such a big part of what SAC does. Love for you to comment on that experience for you personally, but also some of the things that SAC has going on this semester.
For me personally, being a part of SAC, especially being nominated onto the board in my first year, has been really big. It's helping me build those leadership skills that I'm going to need when I graduate, even that I need here. So it's been really interesting to see that and to work with a bunch of different other student athletes here. As far as SAC, right now we have Pennies for a Purpose going. So we are collecting donations at most home athletic events. So that way all of those donations, it is a competition between I know it's in the ECAA. I'm pretty sure it's with our conference too. So whoever wins that, I mean, that's bragging rights. But other than that, all the donations we get are going to go to the Transylvania County Boys and Girls Club to go towards whatever they need, most likely their athletic programs. So that way they can also get into athletics and hopefully end up here one day.
Yeah, and Emily, you know, community service is such a big part of the women's lacrosse program as a whole. Also, you all, you know, throughout the year are able to do several community service projects. I know it helps you all as far as, you know, you all being able to give back and also bonding as a team. But would love to hear from your perspective, Emily, and maybe some of the things you all have done as a team this 2022-23 season.
Yeah, so over the off season, we go once a week, and now in season, we go every other week. But I feel like community service really helps us, you know, get away from the lacrosse aspect and focus on building our friendships and our relationships with each other. We've gone to Free Rein a lot, which is the horse farm that Parker actually works at. And, you know, being around the whole team and, you know, being with like the horses and cleaning and all that stuff, it feels really good to help out and also, you know, talk to players that I don't usually talk to a lot, and it helps build like stronger bonds.
Outstanding. And certainly those strong bonds are paying off on the field. Great start for the BC women's lacrosse program. Let's stay off the field for a couple more here though. Cass Hutto, tell us a little bit about what you're up to in the classroom. What are you working on academically?
So right now I am a business major and I have a criminal justice minor. I'm working to be a sports marketer. I just recently got all my classes registered, so I'm really looking forward to next semester. I think it's really going to help.
Outstanding. And same opportunity for you, Emily. Tell us what you're up to in the classroom. Have you selected a major?
I'm a criminal justice major with an environmental studies minor, hoping to become an arson investigator.
Outstanding. Certainly, you know, in great endeavors for each of you. And I think you guys are already well on your way. Before we get into shout outs and thank yous, and before we turn the page here, do want to go back to the lacrosse field because again, 8-2 overall record, best start in program history, 4-game winning streak. I know you all are taking it one game at a time, but what's going to be the key moving forward for you all to continue these winning ways and taking it all the way into the playoffs, as we jockey for position here in the USA South Conference? Emily, what do you think has to happen this month for you all to continue the success?
I think we still need to come out really strong no matter who the opponent is, and we need to keep our bond and, play our game instead of playing to other people's and other teams' levels.
Cass, can you add to that?
Not really. It's just Emily kind of hit it right on the head with that one. I think as long as we have the right mindset going into it, we could do whatever we wanted to. Really, we could take over the world.
Well, I'll tell you what, you two may have broken the record for most social media comments in any given segment on Tornado Talk, because they have just been flooding the airwaves here, and really appreciate everybody out there in NATO Nation, for helping out here and helping making this show special. Well, Cassidy, Hutto, Emily, Denaga, before we let you go, you can take as much time as you need. Shout outs and thank yous. You all know how this thing works. Emily, you're first up.
Oh, there's so many people to thank. Definitely my family, my mom, dad, brothers, aunt, uncle, definitely my coaches as well. And of course, my teammates. I couldn't be here without them.
Outstanding. Same opportunity for you, Cass.
Definitely my parents. My grandpa, definitely. He always puts the games on his TV with the help of my dad. I want to thank my coaches, obviously, my high school coach, my team, definitely defense. I couldn't do it without them, clearly.
Very good. Well, you both did a great job this evening on Tornado Talk. Thank for your ongoing help with the athletic department. You all help us in so many ways there as well. And we can't wait to see you all back in action. Good luck, by the way. The Ridge rivalry coming up. We got to hold on to that trophy. So looking forward to that matchup as well versus Warren Wilson. Emily, Denaga, Cass, Hutto, thanks for joining the program.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Bill.
All right, there they go. And we're going to switch gears here because we're heading into the softball and baseball portion of Tornado Talk this evening. And I'm going to do a little something, taking it out of the playbook of Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, as we're going to do a little slide here and bring in Brady Penn.
Thanks, Phil. Glad to be back on Tornado Talk. Was on here a couple of weeks ago hosting the show, and excited to talk to some of our coaches and student athletes from both the softball and baseball programs. And first off on that list, we will have softball head coach Bree Shearin, as well as her assistant coach Taylor Hanna, a former Tornado player here at BC. And Coach Shearin, Taylor, welcome on.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Brady.
First of all, I'd like to talk about the Senior Day victory yesterday. Coach Shearin, we can start it off with you. How was that on Senior Day, seeing the way that the team came together in that second game and getting a collective, complete victory?
Yeah, so we had just come off of a road trip and then went right into Senior Day, so everybody was really tired, but they rallied behind the seniors, and it was emotional. Our senior class, after the games, we just kind of took a second to thank them, appreciate them for everything they've done in their 4 years here. But it was an emotional day. They harnessed it very well in that second game, and we got the win, and that's all you can ask for on Senior Day for them.
Absolutely. And Taylor, for you as a first-year coach, talk about this group of seniors and what it's meant to you seeing them finish out their last season here at BC.
Yeah, I got to play with all of them. Actually, KateLynn Olive, I've seen her since she was a freshman, so that was really emotional for me. I was happy I had sunglasses on in that moment. But really watching them blossom their senior year and just step up in new leadership roles have been phenomenal. Beth Hyatt kind of stepped up on the bases for us big this year, and she's been kind of leading us in that aspect. And then Mo, she's just insane. Serena being behind the plate, she's really taken charge of that and helping Lindsey, who has really come alive in the last couple games on the mound. So the senior class, they're special, and they're really helping us build that culture that Bree and I are trying to bring in here and kind of shift in our direction. So we can't thank them enough for everything that they've done for us this year and in the past couple years.
Absolutely. And sort of staying on that same path, sort of, obviously, as I mentioned, you mentioned as well, you played here at BC for a couple of years, 49 career hits, and you were a big presence behind the plate, sort of a field general for the Tornadoes, and kind of talk a little bit about that transition from player to coach and sort of the different perspective there in the dugout instead of between the lines.
It's definitely harder, I think. I'm sitting in moments and I'm like, Bree, I want to go out there. I want to help. I can do something. There's not much I can do. I can only give them the tools and they have to do it. So it's kind of hard there. But the group of girls that I'm able to coach this year have been phenomenal. I've said it ever since the beginning of the season. I was a little worried about it, but they've been super great and respectful to me. And they like listen to me and they don't really overstep me in any way. So that was super nice. And I couldn't have asked for a better group of girls to start my first year with.
Absolutely. And maybe we'll be able to find you an extra year of eligibility laying around somewhere.
I have two. I have 2 extra years.
Does not use it. I said I can coach. I can't have
Never
you.
know. Needs may arise. You never know.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. But Coach Shearin, shifting back over to you, you talk a little bit about this senior class. We've got 2 of those seniors coming on in just a moment, as well as Karley Queen. But talk a little bit about how you've seen them develop and what you've seen both on the field and off from these young ladies.
Yeah, so Beth and Serena, they really have come out of their shell with me this year. They've made me laugh so much. I mean, I don't know what happened from junior year to senior year, but they definitely are always joking. But as far as leadership goes, the 2 of them, Mo, Lindsey, and KateLynn, have really taken that, and they do it in different ways. Beth just really leads the outfield very well. She's in center more consistently for us now, and she does so well talking to a freshman right fielder, and then Karley, who's also in left, who's a sophomore. So she really helps them a lot. Serena was in the outfield for us too. She does anything we ever ask her to do. She started in the outfield because that's kind of where we needed her. And Jazz stepped up as a freshman. So now she's able to go back behind the plate when we need her as well. And she just really talks to us so effectively about the pitching staff and what's working, what's not working, mid-game shifts and adjustments. She does really well with that. KateLynn Olive has broken out this year with her hitting, and that's what we need from her. Mo always does well and is very solid for us at short, and Lindsey just spins the ball so well, and that's her forte. That's what she's good at. And so we have a senior at every aspect of our game right now, which is a good place to be at for us growing and going forward.
Absolutely. Some older leadership for everybody else on the team, kind of guiding the way. And one more question here for both of y'all before we get it wrapped up on this segment. Talk about what to expect as we come down the home stretch the rest of this season and how the Tornadoes are going to finish things off in this 2022-2023 season.
Yeah, so like I said, we were tired. We played 10 games in the span of a week. So we took a day off today. I'm going to get back at it later this week, but going forward, it's just going to get harder. And we talk to our team and we get better as the day goes on. So normally we take a second to get going, but then the spark happens and we just keep going forward from there. So I think that's what's going to happen for us going deeper into season, which I'm excited about. Right now we're meshing better than we have in a while. And so we're just going to continue to use that going forward. And a lot of it, honestly, we've had a lot of freshmen spark in our lineup too, with Evie and Jazz. Being consistent, just, hitting the ball. It takes one base hit to light the flame. So they've done a good job with that. But the longer the season goes, the better the NATOs get. So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. And well said there, Coach. And Taylor, what about you? What are you expecting to see here down this final stretch of games?
I agree with everything Coach Bree said. We have a couple kids in the bottom of our lineup who have really stepped up big the last couple weeks. Evie had a big hit at Southern Virginia. And then Jazz has been on fire the last couple weeks. So if we can all get going, I always come back to if we do the little things well and we collectively do them, we're going to be just fine. We just got to get some energy going into game 1, maybe get the sweep instead of the split.
Yeah, sweeps are always nice. It's always better when the brooms come out. And I've just been told we have a couple more moments here for this segment. And so we can kind of segue into who I've got coming on here next. It's KateLynn Olive, Lindsey Tolle, and Karley Queen coming on. And just give us, Taylor, we can start with you, a little bit about each of the 3.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I played with KateLynn Olive, so I've seen her grow from her freshman year to where she's at now, and she's turned into a real big leader for us. Like Coach Bree said, she's come alive at the plate. She's hitting the ball very, very well. And then Lindsey Tolle, she has stepped up big for us as a senior pitcher. She kind of found her footing, and she's understanding what her role is now, and she's spinning the ball very well, and she has had 2 very successful outings the last couple times. And then Karley Queen, I really believe that she's one of the most underrated players on our team. A lot of the stuff that she does goes unnoticed, and there's a lot of times we don't score runs if Karley doesn't lay that sack bunt down. She's always willing to do her job that we need. She's doing anything for the team, whether we ask her to lay the bunt down or swing through a pitch just to get Mo to get to second or anything like that. So I think she's kind of one of those unsung heroes for our team. But they're all 3 big vital pieces of the native softball team.
100%. And Coach Bree, how about you to wrap it up here?
Yeah, so, senior day with these 2 was rough. I was looking at both of them and I was like, stop crying because I was about to lose it. And I forgot my sunglasses that day. But KateLynn has been with me from Columbia to here. So she definitely, like, that was a rough senior day. And Lindsey, I mean, she's, again, one of the very funny, like, quiet, funny kids on the team. She always makes me laugh. I enjoy our bullpen sessions. I always tell her that when we get in the bullpen, like, that's my, like, calm space during practice. But going back to KateLynn for a second, when she's at the plate, if she sees the ball low, she's going to get on base. And so that's where she thrives for us, and just being able to score those RBIs for us, which she did this weekend. And we were so proud of her. Karley, there was one ball this weekend that I turned around because it went in the air and I was like, oh, she's got this. So I turned around, and it ended up being like she dove backwards for it because it was farther than I thought it was. And I was like, oh, Karley's got it. So I just turned around, I put my clipboard down. I was ready to go for the next thing. And Taylor jumped up. And so I just have so much trust in Karley out there. The ball goes in the air and I'm like, oh, Karley's got it and left. We're good. So I have a lot of trust in her as a sophomore.
Absolutely. Well said, Coach. And both coaches, any shout outs that you want to give before you head out here?
Go ahead, Tay.
I'll shout out our volley, Emily. She does a lot for us, and I think she doesn't get some of the credit that she deserves. She also has a full-time job, so while the softball team got to take the day off today, she had to go to work, so I'll just give her a big shout out. She helps the girls big time with defense and shifting them where they need to, and also being some eyes and ears for Bree and I while we're out on the field and just working with them through their swing in the middle of the games when we can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely would like to shout out Emily as well. Good job, Coach Emily. It's on video now, so you can replay it whenever you need to hear it. But she has been a really big piece for our defense and our hitting. And I don't know what I would do without her. And Taylor, definitely, I can't express enough how much I am a better coach with Taylor and Emily behind me because I'm able to do things more effectively. Taylor, her job is difficult to be our assistant. It's definitely hard. And so I just appreciate them so much.
For sure. Well, coaches Bree Shearin and Taylor Hannah, appreciate y'all coming on as always, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thanks, Brady.
Thanks, Brady.
We've had the coaches. Now we have the student athletes, KateLynn Olive, Karley Queen, and Lindsey Tolle. And KateLynn and Lindsey, we'll start with you guys first. 2 of the members of this year's senior class getting a senior day victory yesterday in game 2 of a doubleheader. And Lindsey, we can start with you. Talk a little bit about that game and what it meant for you guys.
I think we went into the second game with a lot of energy. Everybody wanted it for the seniors yesterday, and we just felt special the entire day. So it was great to be surrounded by everybody yesterday and come out with at least one win.
Absolutely. KateLynn, what about you?
Yeah, like Lindsey said, it's great having them won it for us. It sucks that we couldn't get that first win, but, I mean, they came back and they really showed out for us yesterday. It's just a great feeling to be able to leave that field with a win no matter what. On senior day, I know I'm coming back next year, but it's great to have that for my fellow seniors as well and just letting them have that last moment.
Absolutely. And Karley, you're not a senior, but you've been around these seniors. And talk a little bit about what these 2 and the other members of the senior class have meant to you your first couple of years here at BC. Oh, I think the mic might still be muted. Oh. She dropped out. Now Karley assumes she'll be back in just a moment. For now, we can talk a little bit more about you two seniors. KateLynn, we'll start it off with you. 286 average on the season, 5 RBIs yesterday, your third multi-hit game. And talk a little bit about that, about how it felt coming out there and getting those big hits, driving in so many runs on senior day.
It felt great. I mean, I was in a little bit of a slump for a couple of days, but I finally kind of woke up and kind of just put the ball to the bat, no matter what, just to get those runs in for my team, and just kind of not be selfish and kind of just keep myself up no matter what. Even though going over for the first game, I made sure to turn it around for my teammates and fellow seniors that day.
Absolutely. Lindsey, we'll circle back to you in just a moment. For now, we've got Karley back here on the stream, and we'll redirect to the question of what these seniors have meant to you. We've got some sort of technical issues here, Karley. I don't know what's going on. The microphone is not coming through for you here on the StreamYard application. See if we can figure that one out. And now, well, we're going around in circles here, but we'll go to Lindsey here and talk about that moment yesterday. We've heard all sorts of different perspectives from the team of that game yesterday, and we'll go ahead and get another one here. Lindsey, what was that like for you?
It was great to see so many of our seniors shine out, like Caitlin Olive and Michaela Morgan lit up too. And it was great too for Olivia, who had been out hurt for a little bit. She pulled through too. So it was just a great experience. It was a great team win, and Grace is killing it on the mound. So it's just so awesome to see everybody shine through.
You mentioned Grace Reynolds has been pitching really well. So have you. 7 innings on Sunday, a complete game, 3 innings. Only allowing 1 run on Friday. And with that group of pitchers that you guys have, you, Grace, Abby Delp, talk about that, the camaraderie and the on-the-field results from the pitching on the softball team.
We are definitely a pitching staff. We couldn't do it without each other. And Abby Delp is somebody, when I come off the field, even if she came out that game or came out that inning, she's the first one to give me a hug, the first one to pat me on the back. So it's really nice to feel that support. Grace is always in my corner as well, and we're always cheering each other on, hoping for the best. When one person gets taken out, we need to, pick each other up and be there. So it's definitely nice to have a staff.
Absolutely. And now we've got Karley Queen joining us once again, this time with Caitlin Olive. We've got a way to get her back on here after the pesky microphone issues. And so once again, Karley, we'll start things off with you talking a little bit about this senior class that was honored yesterday.
Amazing and great and so supportive for sure, especially during the games and our practices. My freshman year, I was all scared, but this group has truly brought a lot to me. Put me out of my comfort zone and really so much to me. I'm going to miss all of them.
Absolutely. And for you, like Coach Shearin said, out there in the outfield, a defensive anchor. And just talk a little bit about the confidence that you have out there. You've had a couple of really nice plays, both the last few games and all season. And just talk a little bit about that outfield defense. We lost her. We lost her mid-question.
Yeah.
We will talk about the upcoming season while we wait on Karley, the rest of the season, rather. For both of you guys, now we've got Karley in another room. There we go. Well, what do you guys expect to see the rest of the way from the team? KateLynn, we can start it off with you.
Honestly, just the rest of the season, I think we have the puzzle pieces like Coach Taylor says, so I think just finishing off the season strong is really important, and then coming into next season, we have a lot of strong, hungry freshmen coming in, and I mean, they're great. They're going to come in, and we're going to dominate next year. I really can't wait.
Absolutely. I'm sure that everyone here in NATO Nation feels the same way. And now that we have Karley once again, we'll go back to the topic of your outfield defense. Talk a little bit about that, being out there and left.
I love it completely. I have Beth beside me, which makes me so comfortable for sure. And like our communication is so good. And I feel like I put all my foot forward for all the pitchers to make sure I catch everything and make sure that there's no run scored. I just love the outfield. And I love the outfielders with Jasmine in there and Serena and Beth. And I just love it.
Absolutely. And not only making an impact on the defensive end, you have hits in 14 different games on the season, as well as a 5-hit weekend this past weekend. And does that defensive prowess out there, does that factor into your hitting? Not obviously, technically that's not going to, but does the momentum you get out in the field feed into your at-bats?
Yes, for sure. It gives me more confidence in myself and knows that if I can do defensively, I can do offensively.
Absolutely. And so as we get things wrapped up here, the tail end of our softball segment, going to give an opportunity here for the three of y'all to shout out whoever you would like to shout out. KateLynn, we can start with you here.
Yeah, I definitely want to shout out my family, my brother, my grandparents. They've done a lot for me. It's been a tough many years of putting money, like a lot of money and all the injuries and everything going into that. Definitely my coaches from high school, as well as Coach Bree, Coach Emily, and Coach Taylor now, and my teammates. I couldn't be here without them.
Very well said. Lindsey, Karley, what about you two?
I would like to first thank God for all the chances and opportunities I've had to play college softball. It's a huge blessing for me. I'd like to thank my coaches that I've had throughout the years, and definitely my parents for all the support. I'm one of the farther ones away on the team, so they are always trying their best to surprise me and be there. So I'm really grateful for that. I'm thankful for my siblings and all my teammates, especially, like I mentioned earlier, Liv. She's always there to have my back and always there when I come on or off the field. So I'm really appreciative for her.
Karley, what about you?
I want to give a shout out first off to God for giving me the ability to step on the field and having the ability to have the best friends I could ever have. I would like to shout out for my family and parents for always being there to support me, even though it's in Virginia and far away. And for most of all, I would like to shout out to the coaches that put me here and the coaches now and my teammates.
Absolutely. Well, ladies, thank you very much. KateLynn Olive, Lindsey Tolle, and Karley Queen on a few separate frames of this one. The three softball players joining us after we had the two coaches. Thank you guys for coming on, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And coming on now, we are going to have the Brevard baseball coaches, Mike Victory and associate head coach Rob Julian. After an exciting weekend series, we've got the fellas back on here on the program once again. Coach Victory, Coach Julian, what's up, guys? Welcome on.
Thanks for having us, Brady.
Thanks for having us, Brady. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. So as most people watching probably know, you guys just got finished with a hard-fought and intense series against the preseason favorite in the USA South, and you guys went tick for tack with those guys. And Coach Vic, we can start it off with you. Talk about the environment and the competition that you saw out there this weekend in a couple of great baseball games.
Yeah, it was a great experience for our guys to play in an intense series. You know, it was important for us to get challenged, especially game one not going our way, and guys having to learn to bounce back and be able to, keep pushing through against adversity. It was a fun day having little leaguers out at the field, and a lot more eyes on us than we're used to. We got a lot of people watching. It can get the pressure can build on you, but we always talk about how that pressure is a privilege, and I think our guys rose to that challenge in game 2 on Saturday. Again, battling through some adversity, being able to pull out a win, and even when we got down again, and in the later parts of the game, we found a way to win. And then Sunday, for me, something that our team hasn't been able to experience yet is conference playoffs, and I think that Sunday had that conference tournament feel to it. Both teams want to come out of there with a win. Both teams know the importance of taking that series in the long run, and the way it can have implications on the standings at the end of the year. And it was a disappointment for our guys to not come out with that win, but it was a great learning experience to be in that and know what that was going to feel like. And we're going to have to battle through that in May, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And I mean, there's no reason to hang your head despite the loss yesterday. That was as good of a college baseball game as I've probably ever seen. And I'm up in the booth feeling like I'm out there. I'm getting animated and intense with the guys. It was a fun experience and a fun weekend. And Coach Julian, I'll allow for you to add on to that.
Yeah, I mean, Coach hit the nail on the head there a little bit. I thought game one was the first time I saw some of that doubt creep in to the guys, and I told them that after game one, and like Coach said, there is some pressure now, but pressure makes diamonds, and it's a privilege to have the pressure, and we just had to go out and get back to doing what we do well. I told them to go out and at the end of the day, this is a game, right? Like we just got to go have fun and play. We can compete with anybody. So just had to get back to doing what we do well, and being able to get back in a little bit of a rhythm. And then obviously, Sunday you want to come out and you want to win that rubber match. And the game didn't start too great for us with an error on the second pitch of the game, and then they score, and it's a little bit back and forth. But it's one of those games where you look on the scoreboard and defensively we didn't play great. So probably one that you look up there and you're like, well, maybe we didn't really deserve to win this one, but our offense did everything that they could to keep us in that game and win a ball game, and it just didn't go our way. But obviously, a great experience to know that we can hang with those type of teams, and at the end of the day, they have to respect us now. It's one of those things that we're not at the bottom anymore. You got to come here and you got to play really well to beat us, and I think we proved that.
100%. And for those that don't know, like, North Carolina Wesleyan is a really good team. So if anyone's watching saying, oh, they lost 2 out of 3, that was a great showing by you guys. I don't care what anyone says about it. That's a team that hung with the number 3 team in the nation a couple of weeks ago. So that was as good of a performance I've seen from Tornado Baseball in my 2 years calling games here. And I know that we talked a few weeks ago about it. You guys are so deep 1 through 9. And like you said, Coach, battling that adversity, you guys are down 7-2 in the blink of an eye. It's 8-7. And the way that the offense and each guy in the lineup battles is just really great to see, in my opinion.
Yeah, our guys know that if we stick with it, we're going to be okay. And especially, we got solid bullpen pitching too late in those games, the game that we won, and even game 3. And they know our pitching staff's going to keep us in it if they go out there and they keep scoring runs and they do what they need to do. And I don't think anyone ever thought that we were out of it. Even in game 1 when we were struggling a little bit, it was like, if we can score, we can get and string it together. And that kid just pitched really well and kept us out of it. But our guys know if we can get back into it, we can get on a roll and string those big innings together and do those things that put other teams on their heels and give us a really good chance to win it.
Absolutely. And the more the season goes on, the more that I feel like roles are getting established on this team. You sort of have that 3-headed monster pitching with Trenton, Connor Crosby, and Jacob Thompson. And like you said, a couple of those back end relievers have been able to hold it down late in the games. And then, like we said a moment ago, the lineup 1 through 9. I don't know if you guys know or keep up with the statistics around the conference, but you look at the top 10 and just about any offensive stat on the USA South website, and you're going to see Brevard at least 2 or 3 times. Lucas Granada, Logan Clark, Frankie Vasquez, Cale Ayler, Blake Burchett. Blake Burchett's got the most steals in the nation once again, and it's just impressive to me the way. I'm going to give you guys the floor here in just a second, but I just want to say it's impressive the way that you two have developed these guys into the machine that they're turning into.
I mean, we appreciate that Brady. Obviously, I'm not going to take a ton of credit. I don't get to go out and play. I don't get to go out and do what they do. At the end of the day, they got to go play. I think that we can put them in spots to be successful, but I mean, those guys work their butts off to have the success that they're having, and they deserve every ounce of success that they're having right now. Like I said, we'll take the compliment and we appreciate you. But at the end of the day, those guys have put themselves in spots to be really successful for us. And, not just them, everybody on our roster, you know what I mean? They come every day and they bust their butts, and we aren't in the spot that we're in without all all 47 guys on that roster. Even the guys that don't, you don't see them in the box score too many times, but they come to practice every day and they push guys to get better. And it's been fun, and obviously we've had some success, but we know that there's a lot more work to be done, and the job isn't even close to being finished. So we're going to keep trucking and get back to work here tomorrow whenever we return to practice and get ready to go.
100%. And Coach Vic, we'll throw it back over to you. Talk a little bit about, I see it from afar. I know you guys are with these cats every day. Talk a little bit about the team chemistry. I mean, it seems like these guys all kind of feed off of each other, and it's a really nice thing to see, but give us a little bit more of an in-depth detail about that.
Yeah, the big thing we'll start with on the pitching side that we've been pushing on those guys is that every weekend we need 81 outs. And it's going to take, any number of combinations of those pitchers to get us to 81 outs. And I know everybody wants to start, but the most important thing are getting those outs and getting those big outs and putting those zeros up on the board. And I always push the guys to know, like, whoever gets the last out of a conference championship gets to be at the bottom of a dog pile, and that should be a spot that you want to be in. And I know they're continuing to grow into that and understanding that every out we get as we get closer and closer to playoff games is really, really important. And they're earning their stripes and getting themselves ready to do it, and they do a good job of pushing each other out there. And it's a similar story on the hitting side of things. We've gotten some guys that fit our mold from the start, and we knew they were going to be guys that were going to help us, and they've bought in right away to our mentality, to running up pitch counts and taking good pitches and getting on base, and then stealing second base if we can do it too, and other guys that had to learn and wait. And then there's guys on the team right now that are learning and waiting, and they all want opportunities. And there's probably guys that are on our bench that start for other teams in this conference, but they're excited to see where we're going to go, and they love being a part of this. And I think the most important thing is how much they love each other, and love is a big part of what we do. And I think it's really tough to be successful if you don't love each other and want to see the group do well. When we're making those comebacks, or Bryce Bowers is out there getting the final outs, everyone's up and everyone's standing and everyone's bought in and invested, and that's awesome, because they know that it took everybody to get to this point, and they've pushed guys in those scrimmage situations. In practice, they hold each other accountable, and I think that's truly how you become great, is when everyone's bought in for that one goal. And it's fun. They've done a great job of embracing what we do. I don't get to swing a bat. I don't get to throw a ball. I can tell them what I want them to do, and if they go do it really well, then we're going to be all right.
Absolutely. A great reflection on the two of you guys. And just to add on to what you were saying, I agree with you. You don't got anything unless you've got those guys locked in together, friends off the field. And as a student athlete here myself on the football team, I can say with confidence that Coach Khayat, that's just as important to him with some of these other coaches on campus. And it kind of speaks to the culture we have here at BC, that everybody's sort of on the same page with that. So kudos to you guys, kudos to Coach Khayat and all the other coaches around campus. So as we wind down this segment, I want both of you guys to tell me what we should look forward to this weekend series against Methodist. It's a big one. You guys, I believe, are half a game up on them in conference play right now, heading into a 3-game set. So talk about what we should look for this weekend from the NATOs.
You want to lead off? You want me to go?
It's going to be 3 more battles. They're a really good team. Like we said a couple weeks ago, no series in this conference is easy. Everything's going to be a battle. It's always going to be a dogfight, and you got to go and you got to withstand punches longer if you want to win games in this conference. So we got to be ready to go out and fight and battle and scratch and claw and do whatever we got to do to come back with wins. But our guys are going to be ready. We're going to be prepared, and we just got to go and play our brand, right? If we go and play our brand of baseball, like I said, I don't know too many teams that can hang with us. Just getting back to doing that and having fun and causing chaos and throwing strike one and going to work. That's all we're trying to do. Like Coach said, go get 81 outs and we'll be all right.
100%. Coach Vic, what about you?
Their coach is one of the winningest guys in D3 baseball. He's been around a long time, and his teams do what he preaches really, really well. And if we can't go in there and execute on the defensive side of the ball, they'll take advantage of it. The games that I've gotten to watch, they do things that are old school and small ball, and they do it at a high level. So we got to go in and be ready to catch the ball and throw the ball. And then on the offensive side of things, like Coach said, if we can do what we do, then we're going to be just fine, because I think it's really tough to stop us when we're running hot. And it'll be another battle. It's for us, it's a big one on the road. Probably be the toughest test that we've had heading on the road. And, we've been hanging out at Gil's place for a while now, so we got to get back out there and remember what it's like to travel and, get off a bus and go beat somebody. That being said, it looking a little wet this weekend too, so maybe some adjustments and battling through some elements, but I know our guys will be ready for it.
Absolutely. Well, Coach Mike Victory, Coach Rob Julian, appreciate you guys as always for coming on, and I am really enjoying getting the chance to call you guys games and watch the product that you guys are putting out on the field. So keep it up, and I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes, guys.
Love having you part of the family, man. You make the experience better for everyone that can't make it to our games. And I know our parents appreciate it, even if you haven't gotten to hear from them yet. You're a big part of what we do, and you helping bring our energy to the airwaves is a huge part of it, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I was going to add to that real quick, Brady, saying that I watched that video of you calling the walk off on Saturday, and I got chills, man. You're doing a great job. I'm even going back and getting to watch our games. It's you're doing a really, really good job, and we really appreciate having you up there. So just keep it up and know that we do appreciate everything you're doing. So thank you.
I appreciate that, guys. Just make sure you don't go back and watch my call of the last strike of yesterday. Don't go back to that one unless you want to see some heat. But appreciate you guys, and like I said, looking forward to the rest of the season. Good luck the rest of the way, y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
you. And coming on now here, we will have two of the anchors of the Tornado baseball team, veteran leaders Blake Burchett and Logan Clark. There's Blake dropping in there and Logan right there. So what's up, fellas?
What's up, Brady?
How's it going?
Good, man. Welcome to Tornado Talk. I'm sure both of you have been on this show before. And first off, we'll talk about the series this weekend. I know that you guys were only able to get one of the three, but those last two games were both some extremely good baseball games, and I can't imagine what it was like to play in them. So, Blake, we could start it off with you. What was that environment like, the two top teams in the USA South clashing there at Gil Cone Field this weekend?
Atmosphere, I'll start off with that. It was awesome. Really can't ask much, more than, you're standing in the box and you just you have to back out for a minute and take a deep breath because it's starting to get a little loud. Also with the kids running out, that's always awesome. Whenever you can give back, to the game of baseball, it always is a plus in my eyes. So I think overall, great weekend in my opinion.
Absolutely. Logan, what about you?
I think it was a great experience for everyone who was playing and even just in the dugout. Those conference games are a different breed, and I think it's great to see where we're standing with compared to championship caliber teams who've been there before, and us kind of getting our toes in the water and seeing where we stand. So I'm feeling very confident going into the rest of our conference games and any opponents we have facing.
Absolutely. And for those unfamiliar with Tornado baseball, these two son of a guns can fly. I'm telling you what, both these guys top in the conference in stolen bases. And Blake, for you, last year you took this crown, and this year you're on your way to a second straight season leading the entire country in stolen bags. So talk a little bit about that and why you pride yourself in your approach and execution on stealing all these bags.
Gotcha. Well, if people know me, I'm not a big guy, so I'm not gonna run balls out of the ballpark very easily. So I take pride in I'll get a base hit and I can change that single to a double and sometimes even a triple if I get good jumps. And really the key to this stolen base thing is always starting off with getting on base. You can't steal second without getting on first base. And after you get on, you can start running. And last year I kind of was getting a little too greedy sometimes, and going on first pitches when they know I would go, and they'd end up getting me. So this year I've really kind of focused on, you know, with Logan hitting 3-hole and Morty hitting 2-hole, it's either throw those guys, you know, off speed pitches and try to get them out and let me take second, or, you know, keep me there and give these guys fastballs. And both of those guys can hit a fastball. So it's kind of a dual threat there. And Logan, I think he gets really good jumps as well. And I've learned a lot from him in my 2 years here. So I watched him last year doing the new hybrid thing, and this year I really got it down, and it's helped me a lot.
Absolutely. And Logan, talk a little bit about that, what Blake just mentioned.
Yeah, so Coach had mentioned a new hybrid base stealing method last year and kind of introduced it to us. And it was a little weird at first getting adapted, but once you figure it out and the timing with the pitchers, it's like tremendously helpful. You get crazy good jumps off these pitchers, and it just is a crazy different method that we had never experienced before. And I look up to Blake, even though he's a little bit smaller than me. I look up to him and try to set the same goals that he has and try to chase those records, because he's a menace out on the base pass. And if I keep trying to follow in his footsteps, we're going to be undefeated in this conference. It's going to be crazy if we can really figure it out and get to those next steps that we're trying to achieve as a team.
Absolutely. I mean, it is fun to watch you guys out there on the base pass, and it's funny pretty much any time that either of you two get a hit, I'll mute the mic for a second, look at Eli, yeah, he's getting second. It's pretty much I'll say 93% chance that within those first 2 or 3 pitches, if the guy's not putting the ball out in play, that you guys are going to be standing a base further, maybe 2 bases further. And it's really exciting to watch from both of you guys. And Blake, you mentioned the getting on base, obviously the number one part of stealing those bases. And for you, 4th in the conference in on base percentage. Logan, I believe you're in the top 10 as well in that department, as well as 1st in triples. So just wanted to shout out you guys on that, give a little bit of a plug to you guys' numbers so the Tornado fans out there can have a gauge on just how well you guys have been playing. And as great as you two are, I want to take this opportunity for you guys to rave a little bit about your teammates. I mean, me, Coach Victor, and Coach Julian were talking about how deep that lineup is, 1 through 9. And Logan, we'll start it off with you. Talk a little bit about just how deep that lineup is, and even to the bench, how good of hitters you guys have.
Yeah, so bringing in a lot of guys this year and having guys that were not really playing last year and kind of just mentoring under some of these older guys that were leaving last year, I think it was big for them. It really helped them kind of grow into the position and learn a little bit about it before you go actually out there and play on the field. It's 1 through 50. We got guys off the bench who can come up and really push guys every day in practice and really make all the starters strive to keep getting better and really want to stay in the lineup, because you got to be doing what you need to do to stay in the lineup, because you got guys under you that are chomping at the bit to get on the field.
100%. Blake, what about you? Talk about the depth that you guys have on your team.
Oh yeah, we got guys that, like coach and them said, they probably would start somewhere else, but they have bought into this family that we have here. And like Logan's saying, if you are slacking, or you're, even as starters, if we're not holding up our end on practice, or we're taking light days, they're there to step us up and hey like let's get it going. And especially during games, you see it a lot, because they're locked in and they'll even come up to us and like they want us to be successful. And that's what I think is good, whenever you want somebody who is playing above you to still be successful. And we'll have these guys on the bench coming to us and be like, hey, this guy, this inning he's been going first pitch breaking ball or first pitch off speed, whatever it may be. And they'll kind of let us know and see what, because a lot of it too, like you learn a lot watching baseball. You can learn for years. My dad is a high school baseball coach, and whenever I was young, I learned a lot about the game just, you know, being in the dugout with those older guys when I was a young kid. So that's how you learn a lot of baseball that way too.
No doubt. And real quick, Blake, I wanted to talk about yesterday. How did it feel? You and Cuzzo behind the plate finishing off a caught stealing. Obviously, that inning and ball game didn't finish quite the way we wanted to, but I got to say that was one of the more electric moments yesterday. Was I believe I described it as a family affair at second base. That got me fired up, man. And
oh yeah, it's, you know, me and Brett, shoot, we've been playing baseball together since we were probably, you know, 3-4 years old, playing on the same t-ball team. Our dads coached it together, and you know, that moment right there in that game was special too, because he threw two of them out, and sometimes, you know, you take it for granted, you know, playing with your cousin and stuff. Oh, I got this amount of time, you know, we've done this so many times, or whatever the case may be. But, you know, come down to it, everybody's day of playing sports ends, and some is coming up pretty recent for others. And it was really special too, to see, you know, him being successful behind the plate and me being able to, you know, tag that guy out for him. So I think it was awesome too.
100%. So as we wrap things up, Blake, we'll start it with you. We'll swing it over to you next, Logan. Talk about what to expect this upcoming series versus the Methodist Monarchs on the road.
Yeah, they're going to be a really good team. They're going to bring it, you know, just like any other team does in this conference. There's no easy play games. You can never take just a game off. So we're going to have to, you know, step off that bus and ready to go to war and ready to go to battle with each other and against them. It's from that first pitch on, it's us against them, and I take us in that battle every day.
Absolutely. Logan, what about you? What do you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I mean, since the beginning of the season, Coach has been talking about having a championship mentality, and I think a lot of the guys are starting to buy into it, seeing our recent success, like how good we really are compared to some of these teams. And it's a close-knit group with everyone, and I really feel confident going into all these conference games. Everyone's locked in, ready to go, and just has that championship mentality where we're not looking through just one opponent. We're looking through the big picture. We're trying to get to the big goal, make playoffs, and do big things this season. So I'm feeling really confident.
Absolutely. So 2 quick things. One, I got to ask, I'm not sure. I think you're a Rays fan, but I got to ask both guys, who's winning the World Series this year with MLB season just starting up?
What team's undefeated, Brady?
Well, right now there's only 3 teams undefeated. It's the Rangers, the Twins, and someone else. But the Braves only got 1 loss, and that's who I'm going with. Braves are my guys.
I thought the Braves were undefeated, but I'll go with the Braves with you. I'm a fan of the Braves.
There we go. Good answer right there.
Pretty sure the Rays are the last undefeated team, so I'm gonna have to take the Rays.
Ah, man, I'll let the Rays. I'll talk to my people. I'll let the Rays take the American League, but the Braves have got to get it all. But no, either of you guys got any shout outs you want to put out there? Family, friends, coaches, whoever it may be.
Go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, I'll do a little shout out to my family and all my great teammates that come to support us, and fans and the coaches, all the people that help make BC baseball what it is today and where it's come to. It's really growing as a family, and I can't wait to see us get to that championship caliber type team that we really want to be. And I think everyone here to support it has really helped along the way, and I'm just excited to see where we go.
100%. As am I. I just wanted to say you guys look great out there, the whole team, especially you 2 guys, 2 of our favorites to watch up in the booth, and I'm excited to see the way the rest of the season shakes out for you guys. Really love watching you guys play, man.
Thank you, Brady. We love hearing you on that broadcast, man. It's awesome. It's a really cool atmosphere to hear, and going back and looking at games and stuff. You do a great job, man.
I appreciate it, man. Seriously, it's a heck of a fun job up there. You guys make it easy with the exciting stuff you do. So excited to see what happens the rest of the way, and good luck to you guys this weekend at Methodist.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Brady.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me.
And now we will have another slide coming here in just a moment. Phil is going to hop on. Thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to co-host on here once again. And Phil, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Brady Penn. Great job there with both softball and baseball. Great work all season long as well with all the play-by-play work that Brady does. Outstanding student athlete for us here at Brevard College. Well, we're going to switch gears yet again and invite in our next guests as we're going to head towards the men's lacrosse side of things, bringing in Brenner Woodcock into the program. Assistant Coach Brenner Woodcock, thanks for being here. How are you doing, Coach?
Hey, Phil. How's it going?
Outstanding. Well, really appreciate you joining this edition of Tornado Talk. I believe this is your debut here on Tornado Talk. So appreciate that. Well, Coach, take us, through kind of the latest. I know you guys have been grinding away USA South Conference play. You've been on the road quite a bit as of late as well, but kind of catch us up this last week or two, the going-ons of the men's lacrosse program and, where you guys are at right now.
Yeah, we're battling some injuries, so we're just trying to get everybody back healthy. We had a tough one on Saturday. But other than that, we're just going through it. We're trying to grind it through.
Yeah, and plenty more opportunities to come. I know there's a game coming up this week at Piedmont, so back on the road again. And then, you've got a home game versus Greensboro on Saturday. But in the, thick of this USA South Conference schedule, it is a competitive league. Correct, Coach?
It is, yes, sir.
Yeah, tell us a little more about that. That kind of maybe the style of play in the USA South Conference, and also just the how every opponent you face, you've got to bring your A game.
Yeah, so I think the USA South is very physical. I mean, I played in it for 5 years, so you're definitely going to get bumps and bruises. But I think it's a very winnable conference. We just got to come out, play our game, do the little things. That's what we're preaching right now. It's just doing the little things, doing your job.
Yeah, and up next, and as I mentioned, another road game at Piedmont on Wednesday. There was another road conference game later in the season at Methodist. The season, concludes with the trip to Swannanoa, for the Blue Ridge rivalry. But, tell us a little bit about the road. What's the key to success on the road, when the team has to, get in the transportation, head across the state someplace, or, perhaps even across state lines, and then, get it done on the other team's turf.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, but I think you just got to be ready for it. It's coming. We're going to take a van or a bus every game. So I think as long as the guys have the right mentality, that it's definitely possible to do well on the road. But yeah, we struggled, but I think we can turn it around these next few weeks, this last home stretch of the season.
Very good. Coach Brenner Woodcock with us, the assistant for head coach J.D. LeMay for the Brevard College men's lacrosse program. Coach Woodcock, would love to introduce you a little further to NATO Nation. As you mentioned, you played in the USA South. You were a student athlete at Averett University, where you earned a bachelor's of science in physical education and coaching, also minored in communication studies. You were active student athlete there, on the men's lacrosse side of things, team captain of the esports team, which is kind of an interesting dynamic as well. Also did a lot of work with that school's strength and conditioning program. But, before we get into, even further background, tell us a little bit about that experience at Averett and how that experience as a lacrosse student athlete has prepared you for this opportunity in the coaching world.
Yeah, so I was a part of Averett's first ever team, actually. So just being a part of something and building it from the ground up, which I think my first year at Averett, we went 0-12. So once we started building it up, I mean, we competed. We had some really close games, and we had some losses, some tough losses. But I've always wanted to be a coach. My dad's a coach. So just growing up in that coaching family, that's what I wanted to do since I was very, very small.
Yeah, and I'd love for you to expound a little further on the kind of that, growth of the Averett program that you were able to witness during, your years as a student athlete. What do you think the key was as far as, being able to ramp things up and turn things around?
Just buying into the process. I mean, we all committed there knowing that we're probably going to struggle for the first couple of years. But I think once we bought in, we started seeing results. And I think that was the big thing there, is just buying into everything Coach was preaching at the time. And then we saw it.
You mentioned your father, a coach, and, your college experience playing men's lacrosse. Tell us even further, when did you discover the sport for the first time? When did it start getting serious? Tell us a little bit about your background and your relationship to the sport of lacrosse.
I didn't start playing lacrosse until I think my 7th grade year. And one of my buddies was just like, "Hey man, we got this stick for you. You want to try it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, might as well." Because I grew up playing football and basketball. Those were my 2 passions. And then I fell in love with lacrosse around 7th, 8th grade and stuck it out and went to school, played lacrosse for 5 years.
Yeah, and what are you noticing, in terms of trends, both here in the North Carolina and this part of the country, but also nationally as far as the growth of the sport? I'm sure since you first picked up that stick and didn't really know much about it, the sport's becoming more and more mainstream all the time.
Oh yeah, it's definitely growing. I had a conversation with my roommate actually, and just about how quick it's growing over the past, I'd say 7, 8 years really, and it's definitely ramping up, and I'm excited for that because I do love the sport. So it's good to see that more young kids are starting to pick it up.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And, I know you assist head coach JD LeMay on the recruiting trail as well. Are you noticing more and more high school programs, throughout the Southeast, starting to, get lacrosse ramped up at perhaps some of these schools never even had a program before?
Yeah, absolutely. I know in like the state of North Carolina, it's not always been school sponsored, but now most of the like the NCHSSA, they're all sponsoring it now, which is really good to see. So I notice a lot of North Carolina kids now are starting to pick it up for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just got to help, overall, not just Brevard College men's lacrosse, but also, the USA South Conference and just the sport in general. Brenner, some of our viewers and listeners might be new to the sport of lacrosse. They may have, tuned in, to, check out the baseball segment before you and have never been to a men's lacrosse game, not just here at Brevard College, but perhaps, seen one anywhere. Can you describe a little bit about the game and from a spectator standpoint, some of the things they might want to look out for if someone's new to the sport?
Yeah, lacrosse is a very fast game. They call it the fastest game on 2 feet. I'd say it's like a mixture of football with the physicality and the contact, and then basketball wise, like agilities, and then hockey because you're not playing with your hands, you're playing with a stick. So I think those are the 3 I would compare it to. But yeah, it's definitely very, very physical. So if they like physicality, they should come out and support us. It'd mean a lot to us.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And Coach, now that you've been here at Brevard College, this season, and not only seen the lacrosse program and, obviously the great work you and Coach LeMay are doing, but also just the college in general, the part of the country we're located, all of these things, tell us a little bit about, your impressions on Brevard College and, some of the things you might be passing along to those recruits you're talking to.
Well, we're outdoors. We have a lot of mountains, which I'm from the eastern part of the state. So growing up, I know the beach, but it's nice to see all the waterfalls and the mountain ranges, and just there's a lot of outdoorsy things to do here.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say the community is very welcoming, so it's been nice with that. And then also head coach LeMay, he's done a very good job with me. He gives me a lot of feedback, and I appreciate it.
Outstanding. And you work specifically quite a bit with the offense. Can you tell us about some of those responsibilities and the things you're trying to contend to your, with your, players on your side of things?
Yeah. So just formations and plays. We're trying to get more shots up this year. That's a big point of emphasis for us. And I think so far we've done that. We've improved on that. And just, yeah.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, really appreciate you sticking with us here. Are you able to stick around a little longer as we invite in a couple of your players?
I am. Yes, sir.
Very good. Coach Brenner Woodcock, assistant coach of the Brevard College men's lacrosse program. Great to have him with us. And we're going to see if we can effort in a couple of your student athletes here as Gage, Khayat, and Ben Wilhelm are joining the program here. Coach Woodcock, before we let you go, help introduce these 2 student athletes to NATO Nation.
Yeah, so the one bottom right, I would say with the Bronco hat, that's freshman Gage Khayat. He's a midfielder for us, and he's doing a tremendous job with us. And then bottom left with the BC flag behind him, that's Ben, freshman face-off guy, and he's doing a great job at the face-off X for us this year.
Outstanding. Well, Coach, best of luck on the upcoming games that we can't wait to see you back out there at Islamel Family Field, and appreciate all your hard work, both behind the scenes and then what we see on game days as well. Thanks for joining the program, Coach Woodcock. We'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Phil.
All right, there he goes, Coach Brenner Woodcock, assistant coach for the Brevard College men's lacrosse program, assisting head coach J.D. LeMay. And as Coach Woodcock helped introduce us to these two in that top right corner, Gage, Khayat. Gage, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Outstanding. And Ben Wilhelm here as well. Ben, thanks for being here. Great to have you both
Thank
here.
you,
How
sir.
are you today, Ben? Yeah, good to see you. Well, very good. Great to have you both on here. Two freshman midfielders. And we'll start with Gage Khayat, the freshman midfielder out of Mesa, Arizona. You know, the first thing that, you know, pops there is Mesa, Arizona, Gage, that, you know, quite a bit of difference between Arizona and the mountains of Western North Carolina. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing there, you know, and then, of course, you know, now that you're here at Brevard College, maybe compare and contrast a little bit Arizona and, you know, the mountains of North Carolina.
Yes, sir, of course. So it's definitely a big change coming on over here from Arizona. The physicality level is completely different, and just the sport's a lot faster in general. It's just a lot faster than I'm used to from back home. But I'm glad that I'm here now and involved around all of the faster playing, because it involves me and it helps me be a better player. And I love being here. It's a great place to be for some lacrosse.
Outstanding. And also with us, Ben Wilhelm, the freshman midfielder from Columbia, South Carolina. You know, not quite as far away, you know, as Arizona, of course, you know, down the road in Columbia. But Ben, tell us a little bit about the lacrosse scene there. Is it something that's been growing? And, you know, did you come from a high school program that had it going pretty good?
Yes, sir. I had a high school program at Spring Valley High School in Columbia, South Carolina. It's at least for my school, it'd been around for a while, but you know, growing up and seeing different schools were in my area pick up lacrosse and start with kids, and you know, just in, you know, new freshmen going through high school, it was definitely awesome seeing kids pick it up in the South.
Yeah, and is that something you've noticed as well, Gage? You know, we talked to Coach Woodcock about this. You know, just how the sport's been growing, being added at more and more high schools, and you know, certainly, you know, becoming more and more mainstream. What are you noticing in that regard?
Yes, sir. I mean, I'm just completely. It seems like I'm in a whole new sport because of the area that I'm in and the people that I'm meeting. I'm just really enjoying it here. I love being here. The people are it's just a great place to be. Everybody's so sweet and nice, and it helps evolve me as a player being here, because I'm getting help from other players and coaches, and they're giving me tips that I did not know from back home, because I mean, I didn't grow up playing the sport with the most, let's say, I mean, I didn't have the best coach that was playing lacrosse in high school, and so learning everything here has really evolved me as a player, and it's helped me get a lot better at my game. And yeah, so I'm hoping to do better as we keep going here.
Let's get a little into each of your games. Ben Wilhelm, you know, you do a lot of this face-off work, you know, and that's some dirty work up there, you know, right at the midfield. You know, you won 23 face-offs in that big win over Spalding, so a big part of that victory. But tell us a little bit, Ben, you know, as far as the power of the face-off, and you know, just what it takes to win a face-off.
Yeah, it's definitely a very full position. Lacrosse is just a physical sport in general, but face-off is definitely one of the ones that you got to kind of use your body, all of your muscles for and energy on. So it definitely takes a lot out of you to try to win those balls.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and certainly an exciting part of the game. And you know, been a big part of that as far as, you know, the face-offs this season for the Tornadoes. Gage Khayat, a two-way midfielder. In other words, you know, you get it done on both the offensive and defensive end of things. Tell us about that role as a two-way midfielder, and you know, what it takes to be a successful two-way midfielder.
Yes, sir. So playing two-way, first of all, it takes a lot of conditioning to run back and forth across the field. But also you have to have grit. So if you're going to play two ways, if you're on midi D, you're going to have grit, and you're going to want to keep that guy in front of you and not let him get around you, you know? So you're going to want to play good D on him. And then when I'm on offense, it's my main role is pretty much just to get the ball around, take a dodge if I can, get a shot off, and just help out my team. But really, just get the ball to all the scorers on our team just to get us up there.
Yeah, and Gage, we see your numbers right there. You've scored 6 goals and 2 assists. You've recorded as well here in your inaugural campaign in collegiate men's lacrosse. Tell us a little bit, is there one goal in particular that you've scored thus far this season that is a favorite of yours that's the most memorable?
Yes, sir. I would just say that it was just my first goal, my first collegiate goal in general. It was just a big goal for me, and it was something that I've just kind of looked up to ever since I got here at Brevard, and I've always wanted to just have that feeling of scoring the first goal and seeing how it is, and I was delighted. So,
and that came in that big win over Spalding. Gage, tell us a little more. Kind of take us through it. As far as that goal goes, because you're right. This will be one that no one will ever be able to take away from you, and it's forever part of your legacy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, it did mean a lot to me because I was talking with a lot of the guys, a lot of my teammates and the coaches as well. And before in the preseason, I was having issues with catching, throwing, getting the confidence to kind of dodge around and shoot. So I just want to say thank you to my coaches and the players for helping me gain more confidence and get more shots off. But that first goal really meant a lot to me, and really getting off the sideline and just giving all the boys some fist bumps and some high fives and just saying what's up to the coaches.
Yeah, and speaking of first, Ben, can you reflect back at the start of your collegiate career? These first games of the season, and is there something that comes to mind when I say, hey, this is a first for you, whether it's that first face-off one or just that first appearance, perhaps in a game?
Definitely, it's a big transition from high school level to college sports. Playing in the NCAA, it's definitely a big transition. It's a lot harder. Through high school, you never realize how good these guys can get. And coming out here and taking some first face-offs and losing some, it's really humbling, and it teaches me a lesson as a freshman on how I can get better. So I'm definitely, not taking it to heart. I'm trying to learn off my mistakes and get out there and do the best I can.
Yeah, and I know you guys are hungry to get in the win column. I saw you out there practicing earlier today. Gage, tell us a little bit about what you guys are talking about as a team, as far as trying to propel yourself forward in these final games of the season.
Yes, sir. So being an offensive player, all of us were really talking about more off-ball movement, getting the ball around, and we've been working on more of our plays just to kind of get the ball around more, swing it around, find the open man, get through skip passes, all that good stuff just to prepare us for these games and for this game that we have this upcoming Wednesday to prepare us and just help us out so that we can do very good this game.
Yeah, and Ben, looking forward to this trip to Piedmont. I'm sure it's always a challenge to go on the road and try to get a victory, but I know you guys are ready for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, let's get to know each of you just a little bit further. Gage, Khayat, tell us a little bit about your studies. Have you zoned in on a major and picked anything on the academic side? I know you're a freshman, so you can take your time this year, of course, but have you zoned in on a major?
Currently I'm not declared on a certain major, but I've been looking more towards the business aspect of things. I've taken a criminal justice course. I really liked it. I just don't know if that's kind of what I'm aiming for and what I want to do. But I mean, I've always wanted to own my own business. So I'm kind of looking towards majoring in business, but I'm also looking at minoring in Willie and more of the outdoorsy part of things.
Very good. Yeah, certainly, this freshman year, a great time to kind of check things out and explore and figure out what you're looking to do. How about yourself, Ben? What's piqued your interest here at Brevard College?
I'm currently a criminal justice major. I really enjoy the program. The professors are really nice, and I enjoy what they're teaching me. As far as the school goes, I really love the scenery of it. I love the outdoorsy feel of just everything. We have the creek that runs through our campus. I love walking past that every morning and seeing it. It's great being outside, and I having a good time here for sure.
Yeah, Gage, I see you nodding your head. Are you enjoying, some of these, benefits of being here in the mountains of Western North Carolina yourself? Tell us.
Yes, sir. It's definitely a big change from being in the deserts of Arizona and in the valleys, but it's completely different. The air feels a lot cleaner to breathe in. There's water and there's nice, fluffy trees and everything around me. So it's awesome. But it's a beautiful place to be. Beautiful weather, amazing people, and it's just a great place to be.
All right. Last one before we give you guys a chance for some shout outs and thank yous. Ben, coming down the stretch here, what's going to be the key to the Tornadoes, getting in the win column in these last few games?
Just staying focused. Our guys, we definitely have the talent. We definitely have the potential to win. In these games that we're going against, they're definitely winnable. And it just comes down to, how we treat the game mentally. Like Coach Woodcock was saying, just the simple mistakes. They've been preaching, just trying not to make as many simple errors this year, and that's definitely something that we've been buckling down on this year, and hopefully will propel us into the right direction.
Yeah, well said, Ben. Gage, same opportunity for you. Tell us, as far as the keys to the Tornadoes, and both yourself personally, but as a team, moving forward here.
Yes, sir. So I think that what will propel us as a team more, especially throughout the rest of our season, is mainly our offense. Our defense has done an outstanding job. Our offense, we've done a great job as well most of our games, but I feel like there's a little bit more grit that can be put in. I feel, like I said earlier, just getting the ball around more, just getting it around, throwing it around, and really finding that open man would really help, and as well as just finding off-ball movement, picking for other guys and letting them switch by. It would be a lot more helpful to have that. We're still working on it, doing that a little bit more in practice today and in the following weeks. But I think we should be doing hopefully pretty successful here. We just got to have a lot of grit, and we got to want to win.
All right, Gage, Khayat, and Ben Wilhelm. Hey, guys, you guys have done a great job this evening on Tornado Talk, and it's your first time here on Tornado Talk, so you might not be aware of what's become a bit of a tradition, which is this opportunity for student athletes like yourself to give any shout outs or thank yous to anyone, who you just want to say what's up to, who you perhaps want to thank for, them helping you get to where you are today. The floor is yours, Ben Wilhelm.
I really couldn't have done any of this without my parents. They're my number one supporters. I appreciate them so much. They try to come to as many games as they can. All the amazing coaches that I've had in my career, high school and college, definitely couldn't have been here without them.
Well done. Gage, Khayat, same opportunity for you. Shout outs or thank yous?
Yes, sir. I would like to shout out my mom, my grandma, my dad, my family. They're just three of my biggest supporters out there. Anytime I ever have an issue or anything, or we're talking, they're always there for me. They're always there for me, and they're always there for me to help me get better at lacrosse and just play it next to that better level. I'd also like to shout out Coach JD for bringing me here and allowing me to really play here. I mean, it's a great opportunity, and I'm glad that I'm here. And I'd like to say thank you to Coach Woodcock as well for just being my offensive coach, giving me a few tips on things I need to fix, because nobody's perfect, So yeah, and I'd also like to say thank you to Ben, my roommate, for just being a great kid and being great out there on the field. And he's never given up on faceoffs. I know I've had talks with him like, bro, come on, like, wait, I don't know what to do, like, but he's been great. He's been great, and he's been putting in the work, and he's just a great kid. So I just want to say thank you to him, my coaches, my family, and also my teammates for supporting me.
Hey, Ben, I got to give you the opportunity to return the favor.
Tell
us a little bit about Gage, Khayat, since you guys are so tight.
Let's see. I actually ended up coming to school a little bit late, so he had his own room for a few weeks at the beginning of first semester. So, as soon as I came to campus, it was an instant bond. We started to get to know each other, and we've been tight knit ever since. We do everything together. You know, he's my best friend here, and honestly, I would not have the experience I have here without him.
Awesome. Well done. You know, it's great to hear that kind of, brotherly bond here that you guys got going. And, you know, I can see that throughout the men's lacrosse program. You guys have a great thing going there. And, you know, it's been great to get to know each of you better. Gage, Khayat, and Ben Wilhelm here on Tornado Talk. Well, fellas, best of luck at Piedmont on Wednesday. And then we'll see you at your next home game Saturday at 1 p.m. Versus Greensboro at Lamel Family Field. Gage, Khayat, Ben Wilhelm, great job on the show. Thanks for joining Tornado Talk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. And that wraps up another edition of Tornado Talk. Glad you were able to join us for this one. We talked baseball, softball, men's lacrosse, and women's lacrosse. Appreciate all those guests from those programs. Also, special thanks to guest host Brady Penn. Appreciate his work on the program as well. We'll see you at an upcoming Brevard College Tornado athletic event. All sorts of home games coming up this weekend and beyond. Go to bctornadoes.com or follow the Tornadoes on social media. Until next time, go Tornadoes.